Hey folks, it's Todd. Today we have a special treat. We all know that I love my KelTec KS7. Today we're going to be doing a little upgrade. What I have in these two packages here could potentially be the most significant upgrades to the KS7 that you could possibly do. They're by MCarbo, one of my favorites. You all know that I love MCarbo. I have a number of MCarbo things on my weapon already. This is the MCarbo KS7 trigger spring kit, and this is the MCarbo KS7 aluminum trigger. This is supposed to reduce the trigger pull weight of the KS7 from 7 to 7.5 pounds down to about 3 pounds, which is a significant reduction, should be a tremendous improvement. And since MCarbo doesn't have their normal video on how to install it, I'm going to do one for them. So here we go. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is get our stock trigger pull weight. We're going to do that with the Wheeler digital trigger gauge. So here we go. Back slide. You want to make sure that you get the trigger guide right where you want, where you would normally put your finger. That gave us a trigger pull weight of about 7 pounds, 3 ounces, 3.5 ounces. Let's do it again. £8 0.13 ounces. Let's try it one more time. That gave me a 4.6. So let's do it one more time. I think that was an outlier. And let's make sure we get it right where our finger would normally go. Okay, that gave us 6.0, which gives us an average of about 6 pounds, 13.2 ounces. So we're a little over 6 pounds on average for the trigger pull weight of the KS7. Normally it's around 7 pounds. It also really depends on where this goes on the trigger, so I could have been a little off with that, but we're looking at right around 7 pounds for the stock trigger pull weight. Okay, items we're going to need for this installation: obviously your KelTec KS7. I would suggest some sort of mat. Of course, I love Real Avid, so I'm going to suggest their Real Avid rifle mat. This is the Real Avid Gun Tool Pro. This is the original Real Avid gun tool. And of course I brought along my Real Avid pistol tool just in case I needed an extra tool. I brought a little bottle of G96. And of course the most important part, the KelTec KS7 trigger spring kit from MCarbo and the KelTec KS7 aluminum trigger upgrade from MCarbo. Oh, and don't forget your eye probe. Okay, first thing we're going to want to do is separate the upper from the lower. This is the MCarbo single point sling attachment. So the way that goes, we have to undo it from the other side. So break out my Real Avid pistol tool, utilize one of the hex bits that are inside there, take out the hex screw, both washers. Make sure you don't lose the washers. Set those off to the side and pull it out. I like to put them back together just so I don't lose any pieces. Set them off to the side in the Real Avid parts holder, and of course push the other takedown pin out and separate the two pieces. The next thing you want to do is you want to remove all of the screws from the lower. For that I will use my Real Avid Gun Tool Pro, which has the correct hex bit, and you just go around and remove all of the screws from the lower. I'm not going to make you sit through all of that. So once that is done, I will be right back. Okay, once you have done that, you're going to want to very carefully remove the pin from the forward release. I think that's what it's called. And remove that. Set it off to the side. Then very carefully separate the two pieces. See if we can do this without everything falling apart. Very carefully separate the two pieces. And you can see where all of your parts go. Bear in mind where everything goes. And that's what that looks like. All right, set this piece off to the side. So now we're going to remove the, I believe these are the trigger return springs. And if I'm not mistaken, the whole unit, oops, will just come out. Okay, so there you have trigger, and like I said, I believe that's the sear spring, if I'm not mistaken. There is your trigger assembly. The thing you're going to want to do is very carefully remove the trigger pin. I would say put your thumb right there so that it doesn't go flying off. There's your trigger pin, and there is your trigger spring right there, and there is your sear spring. Very carefully remove the pin from the sear spring and put it in the new improved sear spring. All right. So this is our new aluminum trigger. Alright, that is how our new improved sear spring goes. And then our new and improved trigger spring goes over that. Hold it all together. You can hold it all together. Put the pin in. Once you've gotten the pin halfway in, you can relocate the other side of the trigger spring, and there you have it. There is your new aluminum trigger spring and sear spring. Okay, now it's time to put it all back together. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but the trigger spring there's a little groove in this. I'm guessing this is called the safety catch. You'll have to forgive me if I don't know all the names to the parts. I have stated before, I'm not a weapons expert. I just happen to be okay at shooting. Anyway, so pin, sear spring, trigger spring, safety catch, safety, and then all this goes back together. And then pin goes back down here, and it is ready to put back together. Okay, what I discovered is that it is best to have the weapon in the fire position and not in the safe position. So meaning that the safety is flush on the safe side. And then, very carefully, okay, so after about 30 minutes, I finally figured out how to get it back together. Took me a lot of tries, and I couldn't figure out a simple way to do it to be able to show you an easy way. Let me just say that it took both hands. I had to utilize this a couple of times in putting it back together, but I finally got it back together. Okay, so don't do like I did and forget to put this piece back in. This piece goes in like this, and unfortunately you have to pretty much almost take it all the way back apart to get it back in. Fortunately, I did not have to take it all back apart, but it goes in just like that. And the other thing that I want to mention is 7 of the 9 screws are this length. As you can see, they're about 1 inch long. 2 of the 9 are that length. If you can see that. Those 2 go in this spot and this spot. All the rest go in their respective spots, but the 2 long ones go here and here, just so you don't have to figure it out for yourself. So this is the last screw, and then, all right, here we go. Just hand tight, you don't need to crank it. Then we throw this back on. So that goes, little pin goes right there. Just tap that back into place. There we go. All right, so that pin right there. So we have this. All right, now, so everything is back together. So then we place it back on here. All right, so the best way to do it is push this in up here, and there you go. So now we go back and we put our takedown pin in. So our rear takedown pin, and put our MCarbo single point sling attachment. All right. Sometimes it wants to be a little stubborn. Put the washers back on. Just screw that back down. Take our pistol tool and tighten it. You don't have to worry about getting it too tight because it rotates. It does that on purpose to keep it from binding up. Okay. So everything is working correctly. Let's put it on safe. Safe is working correctly. Okay, now let's test our trigger pull. Okay, here we are once again with our Wheeler digital trigger gauge. And we have it on fire. And here we go. Same place. 2.15 pounds. Let's try it again. 2.14. One more time. 2 pounds even. I'm saying it's probably a little bit less than 3 pounds actually. There we go. There you have it. That is the, oh, and the aluminum trigger feels really, really nice. So, trigger spring, aluminum trigger upgrade for the KelTec KS7. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll be of any service that I can, and I'll see you next time.